Do you guys know how Dabo Swinney got Clemson back into the national championship conversation again? He went back to what won him his first two national championships, which is having a terrifying defense that nobody in college football wants to go up against. When you remember the defenses that Clemson had when they won their first two national championships, they had incredible defensive line play. They had guys like Cleveland Farrell, Dexter Lawrence, Christian Wilkins, who were first-round picks in the NFL draft. This year, Clemson's defensive line is exactly similar to the ones that have dominated and helped won Clemson national championships in the past. You got TJ Parker and Peter Woods, who right now are in the top 10 of ESPN's 2026 NFL mock draft. Last season, you saw TJ Parker have 20 tackles for loss and 11 sacks. This is the best defensive lineman in America. And Peter Woods isn't too far off. He had 17 pressures as an interior defensive lineman and 9 tackles for loss. Do you not know how difficult it is to pull that off as a defensive tackle? And he also had 3.5 sacks. And what's even more terrifying is that both TJ Parker and Peter Woods are only going to get better. Dabo Swinney also finally adapted and went into the transfer portal and beefed up an already dominant defensive line by adding Will Helt, who was one of the few bright spots of a terrible Purdue team last season. So the rich just get richer when it comes to the defensive line. And then the linebacker play. Remember when Clemson had Isaiah Simmons, the guy who could play 4 different positions? He played corner, linebacker, safety, edge. Well, they don't have anybody on this team that has that kind of versatility, but Sammy Brown isn't too far off. He's really good getting after the quarterback. He's really good in coverage. He's also very good against the run, and that's the reason why he was a true freshman All-American last year, and he was second on the team in sacks, and he was third in tackles. The guy can do pretty much about everything. Hell, I think if they wanted to put Sammy Brown at corner or safety, he might be able to pull it off, because from what we saw to him last year, there's nothing that he can't get done. And then they also got Wade Woodis, who comes back, who also was really productive for Clemson. But that's not even the tipping point for why Clemson's defense is so terrifying. Pro Football Focus said that Clemson has the 4th best secondary in the nation entering this season. They returned tons of production. They got AJ Terrell's little brother, and Avion Terrell, who is a projected first-round pick, just like how the stud defensive linemen for Clemson are. He led all Power 4 corners and forced incompletions last year of 14. Then you also have Ashton Hampton, who was a freshman All-American last year. So Clemson has several All-American players on this defense, and they also have several players who stepped up big time as true freshmen. That's why Dabo Swinney has such a big smirk on his face after Clemson lost to Texas, because he knew that last year was just the start of something greater that he's been cooking up for the last couple of years, because he knew with how good that team was to have so many young guys on defense play the way that they did, Clemson was destined to be back in the playoffs again, like what they will be this year. But the secondary, the linebackers, the defensive line isn't the only thing that's going to make Clemson's defense terrifying this year, because Dabo Swinney got the biggest offseason addition in college football this year, which was him shocking the world, firing his defensive coordinator, then replacing him by stealing Tom Allen from Penn State. Nobody saw this move coming. Nobody expected for Tom Allen to jump ship from Penn State, who was just in the Final Four, to come to Clemson. And you want to know why Dabo Swinney stole Tom Allen from Penn State? Because he has a similar philosophy to Brent Venables, who was a major part in why Clemson won those 2 national championships not too long ago under Dabo, because he has a fast and aggressive defense that he likes to run, similar to Brent Venables. Now, their schemes are a little bit different. Their methodology may be a little bit different, but there's a lot of overlap that Tom Allen has with how he runs his defense along with Brent Venables. And Dabo Swinney wants his defense to really get after it. And with the amount of talent that Clemson has, this should be one of the 5 best defenses in America this year. Because last season, in Tom Allen's first season as Penn State's defensive coordinator, they were top 6 in points per game allowed, and they also were 5th in total defense. So with the amount of talent that he's going to have to work with, a Clemson squad that has 3 projected first-round picks and a ton of incredible talents as underclassmen, this is a defense that nobody wants to play this year. This is one of those defenses that you can just look at on paper and tell that this is going to be an elite unit. And this is part of the reason why I have Clemson making it to the national championship and going toe-to-toe with Texas. This is now a Clemson team that has the coaching, and they now have the personnel again to compete with anybody in America. That's why they're a 3-point favorite ahead of their week 1 matchup against LSU. And what's even more terrifying to me is that a lot of these guys who are going to be balling out this year are going to be right back to running back for another season because they're so young. Clemson's defense should not be as terrifying as what it is going into this year. And I have the Tigers making it to the national championship this year. Don't know about you, but one thing about Dabo Swinney is once you push this brother to the brink and you force him to have to change his philosophy, oh, trust me, he's going to make you pay. And allowing Dabo Swinney to finally utilize the transfer portal, allowing him to get Tom Allen, is not going to vote well for the rest of college football this year, because Dabo Swinney is ready to raise hell. He hears all of the naysayers saying that he fell off, Clemson will never get back to the level that they used to be. He can't wait for this season. I see why he was smirking so much after that loss to Texas, because he has something up his sleeve. He knew that last year was just the start of something small that was about to turn into something even bigger this season.